forward. So, of course, big game tonight at Adelaide Oval, South Australia up against WA. So we thought we'd better go to the men that control that. Mitch Scott, Sam Morgan, good enough to come and give us a bit of time. Thanks for coming in, fellas.
Thanks for having us.
Mate, third one for you, first one for you, Sam. Any advice for the first timer, mate? You passed anything on?
I think it's a great honour to be a part of. You're a part of, you represent South Australia when you're out there, and it's, you know, you get to play or umpire on the Adelaide Oval, so it's an experience you don't forget, that's for sure.
How much time do they give you? When do you know? When do you know that you've got the game?
We found out last week. Shane let us know after training on a Wednesday night, so it gave us a bit of time to prepare, particularly being on a Friday at 3 o'clock. Got to get work off and those sorts of things.
Okay, so you would have umpired on the weekend.
Yeah.
So knowing that you umpire in a state game the week after, does it a bit jumpy with doing an SANFL game on the Saturday before, in case you make a few errors and he might make a change?
It's always in the back of your mind, and Shane told us not to relax on the Wednesday night. So got through the weekend, and now I can look forward to Friday.
Had to get on a little plane, mate. He was down at Port Lincoln for the Westies.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So he's more worried about the aeroplane.
More worried about the little planes, mate. Yeah, I'm with you, mate. I'm with you.
Sam, when you talk about that, it's a really interesting one because you talk to the players that are currently playing the SANFL and they see it as a big game, and then you've got the grand final, and players get nervous before some games, get nervous before the finals. State games, did you find your approach any different for you? The nerves are a little bit more up or not?
Yeah, I think any game of that level, you're always going to be a little bit nervous beforehand. We have routines though. Sam and I have umpired finals footy, and so as long as we go through our preparation
together.
Yes, we have. And so, look, we've got one of the guys from WA, Ben, coming over, and he came over 2 years ago to umpire, and I did that game. So the real key for us is to click as a team early. But I tell you what, after that first bounce, it's just another game of football. And we've got a job to do.
I'm interested in this, Mitch, for you, because it's being your first one. You know, when you talk to the players, they always go, if I get that first tackle or if I can get that first kick, I start to feel like, okay, I'm in the game. Is it the same for the first call? Once I make the first call, I'm like, okay, we're away now?
Yeah, most definitely. You always want to start the game well, and we talk about setting it up in the first 5 minutes and paying the obvious and blatant free kicks and letting the players play, and if we're not affecting the game, then we're doing a good job, and if we can get that underway early, then it's a bonus.
We're having a chat off air. Which one's the harder to umpire, the grindy, slow defensive game or the quick game? You're saying, obviously, the quick game's better because there's not so many players around the ball. Traditionally, Western Australia are up-tempo, so you'd expect it's going to be pretty up-tempo game Friday night.
Yeah, most definitely. Speaking to Mitch and some of the other boys that have had the privilege of doing it, the game definitely moves a lot quicker, more sort of an exhibition game. While there's still that state pride, they get the ball around really quickly in terms of on a Saturday afternoon at a smaller ground, and there's been a bit of rain about and a lot of players around the ball. It makes it a little bit harder to get around and make the right call, but both have their pros and cons.
What colour are you boys wearing on the weekend, on Friday? Do you know that?
Yeah, pink.
You're on pink?
Yeah.
Is there a reason for the pink?
Well, we used to wear white once upon a time, and then we moved to green, and then a clash with, I can't remember what team it was, we moved to pink so we don't clash with any of the other teams.
It's a tricky one though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a tricky one. I'm always interested. We were talking off air about the players, how they, at the end of the game, they may swap.
Yep, the
Number
jumpers.
5 for SA might go to his WA counter. Hey, mate, yeah, what about we swap Guernseys? On your outfit, is it going to show state game? Or is it just a pink top? Just another pink top?
It's the uniform that we use in the SANFL.
Yeah.
Similar to when last year I went over to WA with the team to umpire at Optus Stadium over there, and the WA guys give you their outfits, so you get to keep that as a sort of a token of the game you did. So it'll be the same for the WA umpires that come over to us. They'll get our beautiful pink uniforms to keep as a token and memento.
He's going to be wrapped with that. He can't wait to get over here. I heard him say.
I'm saying, I reckon the challenge should be for you guys to see if you can swap it with a player.
Exactly.
I reckon if you can pull that off, that would be bragging rights for eternity, I reckon.
Get the state captain.
Hey, you know, at the start of the game, you walk out, the captains come out, and you have a little chat with them, and you go, okay, off we go. Is it any different? Is the chat any different for a state game than it would be for a SANFL final game? Is it different?
No, I think you try and make sure you've introduced yourself to the WA captain, because I don't know him.
Yep.
Whereas I know every SA player out there, because generally they're players that have been around for a long time, and the longer you're out there on the field with them, the better you get to know them and the better rapport you develop. So I think it's the way I umpire is very much having that sort of connection with players. That respect means that they'll trust you when they're out there, and they'll be more willing to go for the ball and put their head over the footy, knowing that you're going to protect them. So, with the SA guys, Sam and I have got that through years of umpiring with them. It's just making sure that the WA guys know us and know that they can come to us with anything throughout the day.
Is there less back chat today than what there was in the past when you first started, say? Is there less guys having a crack at you on the ground?
It depends.
Right.
Every now and then. No, the players are super respectful. And like Mitch said, we've built a relationship with numerous players over the years, so they're able to come to you and say, hey Sam, what's going on here? And we'll explain ourselves, and then 9 times out of 10 they'll jog off and
they're
it's
okay
all good.
with it, yeah.
But in the heat of the battle, sometimes emotions get the better of players, but we're the same, and we handle it pretty well. So
I've seen a couple of SNFL games, and not because you guys are sitting here, but you guys do a really good job. Because when you go to a game, if you start noticing, what are you doing up? What's going on here? I don't notice so much of that at the SNFL level these days. I think we've got a good group.
Yep, Shane's done a really good job.
And that's not just coming from me either. Talking to a few of the Port guys, they say the same thing, that things have got better than when Port first went into the AFL, if you like. But things are a lot better now between these guys and the players. And I think that's great coming from a player, not a commentator or something like that. Do you feel that?
Yeah, most definitely. And like Phil said, Shane sets up a really good culture. Our team rules are pretty simple and they're really consistent across the board. So if you had anybody from the SANFL up here, they'd be able to preach the same thing. And that's given to us through our coaching each week and over the summer and those sorts of things. And after a while of being in the system, it gets etched in your game. And we follow that and we don't have too many problems.
Are we looking at AFL here, boys? Are we, for both you guys? Is that a goal, umpire in the AFL?
One day. I'd love to. Both Mitch and myself aspire to get there one day. A few of our friends have been able to do that over the last few years, and it's a really cool, once again, opportunity and privilege, but just enjoyed doing SANFL each week and see what happens.
We need a few more of you in the AFL, mate.
I think every
trust me.
Every kid that loves footy grows up wanting to play AFL, and Sam and I were no different. We wanted to play AFL. Quickly realised that that dream was never going to eventuate, but to still be involved at the top level of competition, it'd be a great honour one day.
AFLW, how have you found that?
It's a wonderful competition. I was lucky to be honoured to umpire the first showdown at the Adelaide Oval last year.
It was his fault. We got hammered.
Well, you're an interviewer, not a spectator.
Sorry.
I don't know if you can blame anyone for that.
Oh, don't worry, we'll blame you, mate.
I said the umpiring had improved after the showdown.
Yeah, of course. Already games at Port have lost. Yeah.
But just experiences like that, you had 20,000 at the Oval that really passionate, and it's really wonderful to see that kind of interest in the state, but also in the women's competition. You
know, the players, when you talk to the players, and the crowd, there's 20,000 at the game, and you know there's a noise, but the players, when you talk to them, they don't really hear it, unless it's all at one time. Is it the same for you guys? You know, the guys are yelling out, or women are yelling out. Do you guys hear any of that noise, or are you so focused on the game it's just a blur? Except for the players, of course, because they're close.
It's generally it's a blur.
Yeah.
You tend to be you switched in, you're also commed into your other umpires, so generally you get that single focus on the game and you don't notice it much, but obviously there are times where perhaps you're not actually umpiring that you might notice it a bit, but generally not.
Do you find that hard? Because I've spoken to a couple of functions for you guys, and they're ripping blokes. And I'm not saying that because you guys are here. There's a great camaraderie about you guys, and there's real fun in the room when you're with you guys. But sometimes when you're sitting in the crowd and your mates are umpiring, they're just getting smashed by a commentator. I mean, is it hard to sit there? Do you find I've just got to get up and walk away? Or do you ever feel like going, have you had a look at the rule book, mate? Have you had a look? Because what he's doing is actually right. Is that difficult for you guys?
I I mean, I love football and I love going to watch it, and you kind of understand that people go to the footy and pay their dollars worth to go and watch, but sitting there to yell at the umpires, you do sit there and scratch your head sometimes and think if that was the other team, it'd be vice versa. But yeah, it does become a bit more difficult, particularly the higher you go up. And if your mates and other people are involved, you think they're doing a good job. But once again, people love their football, and yeah.
You know, when you go into the game, so you got the game Friday night, so you go and you know there's going to be a kind of style about the game. We talked about it's going to be pretty quick, is what it looks like. Are you familiar? I know you're more familiar with the SANFL players, but sometimes I often wondered this through my playing career. Do the umpires ever sit there and go, I know the guy that's playing tonight is going to be really lippy, or he's going to be one of those guys that's trying to belt someone behind the player? Are you guys aware of that more now than perhaps before?
Yeah, we definitely do have those conversations before a game. We'll have a look, it might be a rivalry game or a player's left the club and gone to play for another club, and not that we plan for it to happen, but we have it in the back of our minds that so-and-so might be going to so-and-so tagging, and just as we work as a team, and particularly as a non-controlling umpires, to keep those eyes on the things around the packs. But the players are really, really good these days, and it doesn't happen too often.
Well, don't forget Friday night. You really need to shut this Western Australian umpire out of the game. You want to tag him, get him out of the game. Well, it is here, mate. We've got to have some sort of advantage, don't we?
Oh, yeah, well, and I'm sure that's going to happen. Hey, boys, I know it's a big game. Well done. It's an honour, great honour to get it.
Good luck, boys.
Look forward to the game. It's going to be a ripper. Get down there Friday night, or you're probably on the way now. If not, switch on and support South Australia over WA. Stay with us. Still, a bit more to come.